Okay, let me start. 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Socratic Dialogue. Today, we'll be exploring various UX principles as well as the impact it has on the overall business landscape. In today's dialogue, we have two teams who will be discussing these principles. So I encourage each of you to share your perspectives and engage in a thoughtful dialogue as well. So let's explore this topic together and gain a deeper understanding of the CXO role in today's business world. Before we go ahead, I would request both the teams to introduce themselves. Also, can you also give a reason behind choosing the name? Please go ahead, team. Who would like to go first? Yes, Gaurav, please.
So our team name is Health Watch, and our main motive is to improve the health of all the citizens, basically our elder people and all even the smaller people in the fun in a enjoyment way. So they don't take it as a burden; they will enjoy the way they are taking it. Enjoy the health, basically.
Great.
So
Thanks.
would you like to introduce yourself as well, Gaurav?
So I am one of the team member of Health Watchers, and we are going to share the viewpoint on user experience. And in my team, we have Yosha and Aryan, and we have our coach Tushar.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav. Next, please.
Okay, so the name of our team is Team Lawrence. So it comes from Lawrence Weed. So he was the first who started the idea of implementing AI into medical field, and that's where our company's main idea comes from. Like it implements AI into the medical assist as a medical assistant tool. So yeah, in this we'll be discussing about that, like the CXO experience or all of it. In my team, I have like Ashoka, Anand, and Lisa as my team members.
Would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm Gaurav Pal, one of the Gauravs here. So yeah, like not sure to.
Thank you. So other team members can go ahead and introduce themselves.
So hi, I'm Lisa. I'm not going to talk about the team because Gaurav explained pretty much everything. I work in Deeport as a behavioral data science, and I'm a part of the Wing Culture Lab there. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, hello, I am Askanan Chaudhary, and right now I am working for the GSMIS as a data scientist, and even I am working part time for the Deep Thought.
Thank you, Ashok.
Okay, that's kind of unfair. I didn't get to introduce myself, and neither did Aryan. So I will introduce myself as well. I'm a behavioral data scientist at Deep Thought, and I work in the Martin lab. Aryan, you can go ahead as well.
Hi, my name is Aryan. I study in Scottish School, and I'm a 0.0 grade.
Aryan, you were not audible. Would you like to go again?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Aryan. I'm an 8.0th grader. I study in Bombay Scottish School. Yeah.
Thank you, Aryan. Okay, I would also request Komo to introduce themselves.
Hello, guys. I'm Tushar. I've been working at Deep Thought for over a year now. I'm a leader at Deep Thought, and I have been working on developing systems and programs that can help people have an accelerated development in their career. So excited to be here, and we hope that I hope that we'll have a very good dialogue.
Thank you, Tushar.
Yeah, hi everyone, myself Shawn. So I'm a software developer at Deep Thought. So I am the coach of Team Lawrence and co-mod for today.
Thank you, Shawan. Lastly, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Gaurav Dahal, one of Gaurav here, and I'm working in DT as a behavioral data scientist. So without any further ado, let's start today's discussion. So which team would like to start? Guys, which team would like to go first?
Okay, my team can go ahead with their pitch first.
Okay, over to you.
Yusa, Gaurav, Aryan, would like to go ahead.
Okay, over to you,
Yeah.
Health Watchers.
Yeah. Hello everyone. We are Team Health Watchers because we technically have a smart watch about which tracks and helps people improve their health. Unfortunately, I don't have a dark mode. And let's just go directly. So the role of UX in general, because it's a CXO dialogue, in generally is like if people will have a good experience with our watch, so they'll share the experience with others and eventually spread the brand through word of mouth marketing. Uh, and the second is that if the experience they have is positive, they'll keep coming back to us again and again. Even if it's not a smartwatch but any other product we have, so they will have a trust with our brand. And third and last, it will their feedback will help us keep developing our products and improving them further, so that we don't we always stay ahead of our competitors as well. Otherwise, we don't want to become another Nokia. Yeah, so you can continue.
Yes, so the strategies that we're going to implement to convince our team of having a UX mindset. So first, we'll be holding weekly workshops. We will use our own TT pedagogy there. So we'll be using Socratic dialogues and workshops about UX fundamentals to at least first inform them about the UX mindset. Then we'll also be holding hackathons where people will come together and they will focus on finding and solving the UX problems we have at our company. And we're also going to be holding brainstorming sessions where we can make people think about how they can use UX to make their work simpler. So for an example, data scientists can make their data visualization more user-centric by following the principles of UX, right? So yeah, that's our whole approach. And this is a nice little conclusion for you guys.
Thank you, Team Health Watchers. So, Team Lawrence, if you have questions, please go ahead.
Yeah, in the role you have written, your strategy was like mouth to mouth marketing. So don't you think, mouth to mouth marketing would be the least thing that any company or user experience will focus. So, but at first, I think you have just going for the mouth to mouth marketing. So, why did you choose this mouth to mouth marketing instead of applying the other strategy?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead with it. First of all, are you able to hear me clearly as usual? Okay.
Yes, I am.
So, we are kind of preferring that because there are already a lot of smartwatch brands, like, so there's okay. I can't count the smartwatch brand because I'm not that aware of it, like Fitbit, etc. So at that point, they kind of need a reference to others, and we also usually kind of prefer. Yeah, I'm just lagging a little in my voice, but yeah, we usually prefer the things our, let's say, friends tell us in usual also, right? So it's much more effective.
Yeah, adding on to Aryan. So as we don't have an already well-established brand, right? So we're going to be focusing on the UX aspect to kind of drive our growth. as well.
Thank you, sir. Also, did it answer your question?
Yes, it answered our question.
Do you have follow on that?
Yeah, like I have a follow-up question. Like as being even the startup, most of the time, as you told, you'll as you have written, you'll focusing on the data pedagogy. Okay, so how do you think data pedagogy will really help you in building your UX?
So pedagogy will actually help us with the workshops that we're conducting. It doesn't directly help with the UX. It more like helps us make people understand the fundamentals of UX. So the method of Socratic questioning, Feynman technique, and going to the first principles of things. That's what we mean by the pedagogy, the approach that we're taking.
So what's the difference between the conducting the DT pedagogy and conducting the workshop?
No. We are conducting the workshops using the DT pedagogy.
Okay. I got your answer.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, I had one. Like you mentioned, like from your user experience, people will be tending to come back to your product more and more, right? So what all aspects of user experience are you working on, and how are you working on them?
Gaurav, so you can answer. I flagged it between.
We are working on making the watch much comfortable by making it light. Even people are like when they sleep, they can wear that. We are working on that type of experience. That they do not feel like there is something on hand. They are free with that boosting a button that there is something on hand because most of watches today we see
Got
are
your point,
that on.
Gaurav. Any follow-up, Pal?
Like, won't there be many companies that will be focusing on comfort and like the weight? These
Yes,
are like common
comfort and the
concepts.
quality more.
Okay, but there our main target is not only comfort, but our main target is health also.
I'm sorry, can we not go into the product part? Can we go into how are we going to convince our team to think UX?
Yeah, just a quick kind of answer to it. It would be quick. So it depends on the customer, like what they prefer, right? So if a lot of people are going or improving on, let's say, comfort, etc., but if the customers want it, we will do it. Like what exactly do they need in comfort and improve on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Aryan.
So,
Okay, Lisa, go ahead.
okay. So you mentioned that to convince Team Think UX, you will conduct weekly workshops. How exactly is that going to help? Like, because let's say you conduct a workshop, but there's no result in Team Thinking UX. Like, how exactly you're planning on conducting those workshops? Workshops is a bit of an abstract term.
So the thing is, it's not just workshops, right? Workshops are more about informing them and teaching them about it. There are also going to be hackathons, and there are also going to be brainstorming sessions where we figure out how they can use the principles of UX to make their work either simpler or more efficient. Now, so these three are a combination of strategies, right? They don't really work standalone that well.
Yeah, and just a quick add-on to that also. So whenever you learn a concept, you need to know the reasoning and how does it happen, etc. in the starting, right? Otherwise, you might wander a lot and then just get bored with it or not want to explore further. So that's why we have the DT pedagogy and like Feynman technique of making it easier, etc., so that they understand the concept clearly first.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you, Aryan. Thank you, Yusha. Team Lawrence, do you have any further question? Yeah,
I have a
go
follow-up
ahead.
for that. Lisa, did that answer your question though?
I
So
think, yeah,
let's
kind of.
okay. So let's say that you guys are conducting the workshops, right? They're understanding the concepts and everything. But will that convince them to use UX principles in their work? What if they do not get convinced?
Yeah.
That's a
So
really good question. Okay. Then you can go.
yeah, I'll just complete it fast. So it's kind of like it's not a principle, I would say, but we have this thing. Like, how do you even convince a person? So it happens like usually.
Wait. Let's first think about it. Though. How do you convince someone? So this is not going off topic, right? We're thinking about still convincing people of UX. So okay, let's have a question here. How do you convince someone?
You all could answer, yeah.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's not a rhetorical question.
Team Lawrence, would you like to answer that question?
Is it to
How do you
everyone?
think?
I just didn't understand. It's to everyone?
No. So it's the question is, yeah, it is to everyone.
Okay.
Okay, Gaurav,
Gaurav?
you can go ahead.
Gaurav, you're kind of anarchy. Okay.
By showing the positive side or the profit that they are gaining, we can convince them.
What
Yeah,
if
that's certainly one.
I see the impact, I see the positive and stuff, but it's too much of effort and I don't want to do it?
To just quickly answer that specific point first. So, like as our kind of third and last point already told it, we will have conversations like role specific. If you are a data scientist, how would that help you, and etc. So we are aim on making it simpler and better for you, and not just give you. That's why it's a brainstorming session, right?
So to answer that question, what we came up with, convincing people is either done through data. So you show them something that convinces them, some numbers, some impact, something like that, or you give them an experience. You make them experience the thing, and that is enough to kind of make them realize and get convinced. What we're trying to do is have a mixture of both of these things. So we show them the impact of UX. So for example, they'll be solving the UX problems, right? So we can show them directly the impact that that has solving UX problems. And for the experience part, they're going through the whole UX journey. They're first learning about it from the workshops, and then they're implementing coming up with solutions, finding problems, coming up with solutions, then seeing their impact. They get to experience the whole process. So that's what we're following to try and convince people.
Thank you, sir. Team Lawrence, any further question?
So not a question, just to clarify your strategy that you have, just to clarify that I understand correctly. So you just first you have workshops, then you have this hackathon session when you're making people use what they learned. And what exactly role of brainstorming, like to understand, like in brainstorming, you like what you've discussed in practice, you think how you can use it in actual work, something like this, or is it, or do I understand wrong?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate it in a way. So again, like we kind of discussed it, right? That even if you might think, oh, it's a really good thing, UX is a really good thing, you might not even kind of want or implement it if you're not getting helped by it. It's not helping you. So brainstorming, what we are mainly doing is how it will help them in their usual work, like going into the deep nitty-gritties, so they are getting to know the advantage by themselves.
Okay, did that answer your question, Lisa?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, also you
Yeah,
can go ahead.
it's like the most direct approach to show them what's in it for them to try and convince them.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Let's say that you are doing the brainstorming and stuff, right? You are doing everything so that they get convinced. and stuff. Okay. Yeah. So you're showing them the benefits that they will have, right? How, let's say that to write a certain program, it takes me 10 minutes without UX. But if I consider UX spec as well, let's say it takes me 5 minutes. So I know that it's beneficial for me. But what if for, let's say that 10 years, I have been, used to working without keeping UX in mind, right? So how would you change the 10 months of my habit of not thinking UX?
Over to you, health watchers.
Yeah, Upadhyay, please go ahead.
Gaurav, you can just directly.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you tell how to change the habit. If it is a 10 years, like he has constantly doing that thing without UX.
Yes, like my point is people are used to operating in a certain way, which is not user centric. So how do you make them think user centric when they are used to not thinking that way?
Okay.
So what I'm thinking about is we can use a similar approach that we use at Deep Thought. So the maturity builder approach, right? We take
What is maturity builder?
So the maturity builder is something that helps you build your maturity. You take an incident and then you find out the root cause of that incident. And then
How
you
will that help me
come
in
up with a
getting rid of
nudge.
my 10 years of habit?
So mainly is the nudging part. So whenever you want to do something, you something is very beneficial for you, but you're still not able to do it, right? So if you're able to nudge yourself whenever you kind of see yourself going off or on a tangent, or if someone else is able to nudge you when they see you go off on a tangent, that can also help with a positive work environment.
How will that help? How will the nudging help?
So when you nudge people, you let them know that, hey, we're supposed to be following a UX approach, right? And you
Would
already
nudging be
know.
enough? Like if people are used to certain ways of operation for 10 years, you're just nudging them, right? You're just telling them that, okay, this will benefit you in this and that way. So is nudging really good?
No, not necessarily. Nudging them to come back to the user-centric approach. So, for example, if they're working on something, they're deviating from the user-centric approach. We nudge
Now,
them
what
and
if they have
bring
not
them back.
started it either? Not started it at all.
Not started
Thinking from the
the
UX
user's
lens.
perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. We can have some
Yeah.
to assess if. Yeah, I think you can go.
No, you can continue.
I have been speaking for too long.
Okay. I had an incomplete answer, but okay, I'll still go ahead. So, it's kind of like because the environment is too general of a word. Yeah. If the operations are already like that, we would first like to kind of set it as a kind of a necessity, right? So in a way, if everything needs like we were more yeah, I mean it's kind of like a motivational thing, but yeah, it does make sense a little. You're more likely to do something if you have a clear goal, right? So we will kind of put it like an operating procedure that okay, you have a data visualization, the data looks like this, but you need to kind of have this level of clarity. This should have just 3 components, something like that, so that they stick to the goal itself and not wonder about how they impart UX specifically.
Nice.
Okay, so what you're saying is you will try to bring some sort of necessity, right? In the entire operation, organization's operation, right? So that people realize and start acting on it.
Yeah.
So how would you, explain or something about that necessity that you're bringing up? Like for 10 years, that necessity was not here, right? So why suddenly would we want to have that? Last question then.
We can actually bring some changes in environment. When environment will change, now people would be surrounded by the people who thinks in UX terms, so he'll be definitely be influenced, and he can now have a more thinking regarding UX term, and with similar habits, with going these habits, he can actually go ahead. He can change that habit.
Okay, bringing a systemic operational change. Sure. Thank you, Upadhyay.
Okay, so we can go with the last question. Someone, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I had one question. So you have mentioned that you'll be using the process of feedback, right? So how do you plan to use it along with your UX in terms of UX?
Can you
Good.
repeat the question, sir?
So you mentioned that you'll be using feedback, right? So how do you plan to use it with terms of UX?
So feedback for the workshops or
No, your
customer?
entire cycle, as you mentioned, the development cycle and
Wait,
all.
there.
Like,
What we
Okay,
mentioned
so
as a third advantage of UX.
okay, so the feedback, right? It's what is your exact question? Just so I don't accidentally.
how do you plan to use a feedback?
How do we plan to use feedback? Okay, well, that that specific point deals with improving your product when you take your customers' feedback in consideration. Now,
And
uh,
so
the feedback might not necessarily be good, right? A lot of different people will bring lots of different things, even opposing things like bring this, bring that. So there are a few metrics that we can use to keep staying. I mean, to not accidentally mess up. So we keep our vision in mind. What is exactly our vision? So to provide a good tool for measuring health, help people improve health, and make it comfortable, make it enjoyable, right? So they actually want to do it. It's not a chore, it's something they enjoy. So that when we keep this vision in mind, we'll be able to evaluate the feedback accordingly. That is this a good change? Is this not a good change? Etc. Etc.
So
And we can
basically you're
also
trying
keep
to
our
say,
target audiences in mind.
so
Yes.
you're trying to say that you'll keep the common objectives in mind before taking a decision.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, so that would be the end of part one, I guess. So thank you very much, Team Health Watchers. So I would like to request Team Lawrence to go ahead with their presentation. Over to you, Team Lawrence. You can go ahead.
Okay, Lika, you can share the screen.
Like, share the screen. Okay, so like let's talk about directly talk about our product or the business we have. We'll be revolutionizing the healthcare system with medical assistance. Like we'll be using AI as a tool which will help like to give better solutions to the healthcare system that is already there. So what is the role of UX in this? So we'll be like pushing medical practice with the intuitive AI medical assistance tool, which is our product designed for both like the remote as well as the busy healthcare practitioners. The next would be like to the next would be interpretation of results. We'll be providing easily interpretable results with relevant medical references seamlessly integrated into daily workflows. Okay, so the next one is next role of the UX is like the to build trust and transparency, which is one of the most important of aspects of like a product. So what we'll be doing is we'll be designing the UX such that it will uh, it will instill confidence in the AI's capability as well as the accuracy. We'll also provide customer feedbacks for having better transparency. As for the last role of UX would be like the feedback mechanism. We'll be empowering professionals to report issues, offer improvement suggestions, and actively contribute on the AI assistant's ongoing development.
Team Lawrence, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but can we please not read out the slides?
Okay. Okay, I'll explain it a bit. Okay, so what we will be doing is we'll be in the feedback mechanism. What we'll be doing is we'll be getting a feedback from our AI as well as our customers, both from forms as well as the data collected through AI, and we'll be using that to again go through the UX design thinking and improve our product developments. Yeah.
So talking
Strategies
about
to
how,
take. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can
now
take
please
over
okay.
if you want. I can
Yeah.
take over if you want to. How exactly are we going to make our team think UX? So the best, one of the best possibility to convince people to do something is to show someone else who was successful using this tool. So we will be showcasing these successful people, sharing success stories and showing and conducting case studies. So second is UX design thinking. As we know, like design thinking is a methodology that keeps a user in the center of everything of our development. So we will try to incorporate this idea in our team. And next is education and awareness. So before conducting a case study, it's it's obvious that we will. Sorry, 1 second. Before using something, you need to learn about this thing. So we will be conducting workshops. We will conducting so we will be talking about the principles. First principles will be explaining the idea, and after that we will use case studies to explore these ideas. I don't know what we thing. And the last thing is a user-centric mindset. We will encourage our team to put themselves in the shoes of the users. And yeah, by embracing a user-centric approach, we will create better AI assistants that will help medical professions to work with their patients better. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much, Team Lawrence. Over to you, Team Health Watcher. If you have any question, please go ahead.
Yeah, kind of, okay, I'm sorry if it's too abrupt, but yeah, my first question would be like, if you are taking feedback about the AI from the customers and AI, etc., so wouldn't it put a burden if you are wanting to solve the problem, to the UX problem, you want to solve it, wouldn't it put a burden to the developers, etc.? Because making any kind of changes in AI takes a lot of time. So wouldn't they resist the UX culture then?
Yeah, I would like to answer this question. As a data scientist, there is one concept called reinforcement learning, in which even if you need to make any kind of the changes, there need a agent. The agent would be we, developer would be the agent. So we'll be working on the feedback. So I don't think that would be much greater problem. I hope this answered your question, Aryan.
I did not understand the answer clearly.
I would
Can you
like
try
to
to simplify it? Yeah, go ahead, Gaurav.
Okay, so we won't be like changing the AI itself. What we'll be doing is we'll be taking in like what all things are the users or the patients searching for in specific regions. So that we are able to provide, for example, suggestions like which type of specialized doctors are like necessary in this region. So we'll be providing that type of development rather than developing the AI.
Does that answer your question, Aryan?
So to just clarify it, so with the AI, there would be a doctor, a specialized doctor, which would kind of assist the operation, whoever is doing.
Yeah, of course. This
Yeah.
is the product that we're not, just to clarify, we're not giving this product to the clients. Like we're not giving it to the patients themselves. We're giving it assessments for the doctors, because identifying the problem can be sometimes a huge, like long process that take a lot of time. So we're giving to the doctor, and doctor is working with it, basically.
Yeah.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, a follow-up question. after that I'll ask a convincing UX one, but it's also kind of a UX one. So wouldn't it provide a kind of worse user experience to the doctors if they kind of need to know everything of like how kind of they should handle the AI while at the same time doing emergency surgeries, etc.
First of all, just what do you mean have no AA? What exactly you mean by that?
Yeah, as you'll mention, kind of the solutions would not be just improving the AI itself, but centered toward the doctor, like how you would help them even before they kind of start using the AI. So would not that put more pressure because they need to learn a lot more before even using the AI?
Not really. Like why exactly? Do you know? In my mind at least, do you know like when you use ChatGPT, you can create its answer. Sometimes when you do regenerate, the system is just the same. For basically, AI provides you a list of possible diseases. Let's say for example, it provides possibility of different diseases, and after when the case is already, so doctor will be able to check for them, and if AI is correct, he will just mark as good response, great, good job. If not, he will just he will just add input afterwards. Does it make sense? And also, anyone from the team, do you have anything to add to my point?
That kind of does not answer my question because we are discussing like how will you handle the solutions to the UX problems kind of they face, the doctors, patients, etc. So the solutions which which was stated about not directly implementing AI, but helping the doctor, like wouldn't that give a negative UX? That was
I'd
the
like
question.
to add on to it.
No.
Okay, so it's like basically meant for like clinics. So like the doctors won't be the one that will be using it. The people that will be using it will be the one who like is in charge of a clinic, not a particular doctor. So it will be like the first stage that people will have to pass through. Like, for example, if someone is in emergency and one handling the clinic is not knowledgeable enough in some aspects, so he'll first use our product. If it's still not available, he'll be able to go on a video call with a specialized doctor.
Ashok, actually, do you have anything?
Does that answer your question, Aryan?
I think that adds on to the bad user experience because then they have to contact more people, etc.
No, no, actually, yeah. Even we are building the product on the basis of the feedback. So we'll be getting feedback from the doctor. If someone doesn't like this, then in our team only, we'll be like analyzing why the doctor doesn't like this product. So we'll brainstorm by ourselves only, and then after we'll make some changes to the UX.
That kind of does not answer the question because again, it was
Maybe you'll try to clarify and answer better because I'm kind of having trouble understand what exactly you mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
So kind of the previous thread we had was how would you solve the UX problems, and it was mentioned that you'd not directly kind of improve the UX, but you would kind of help the doctor, like how you mentioned about having a video call with a specialized person. So kind of wouldn't the solutions which you're giving right now, like having video call, etc., while the doctor themselves are in a kind of emergency situation because they're dealing a patient, etc., so wouldn't they have a bad experience because the solution you gave to the UX is worsening the experience?
Sorry, you said about video calls something? Where did you get information about using video calls? This is my follow-up question.
Let me rephrase the question.
Talked about
During the emergency situation, like how would your user experience, like how would your system would help the doctors if they have to go and contact other people during the emergency? So that is his question. Did I make it clear, Team Lawrence?
Yeah, basically this is a medical assistance, in case of the emergency, in case of emergency, doctor have to take the call. At that time our AI won't be able to help them, but we have another feature, but in case of the ruler, if you are going to the big hospital, then that's fine. But if you are going to the ruler, the rural area where doctor are not too much trained, so I think it's better to keep some time rather than just going for the operation and the treatment. So so at that time our assistant will help the doctor. They will give the probability and the possibility that you might use these, you might use this kind of medication.
Okay, I would just use a mirror reflection and ask the same question which was asked to us. So if they are like already using doing kind of how they do the surgeries or any kind of patient checking for years at a stretch, so wouldn't the AI kind of, yeah, again, like wouldn't they resist the AI because how kind of they are not used to it? So how would you tackle that?
Yeah, if you see, basically our AI won't be used for the operation, help for the operation. So they will be just assisting the the doctors. Am I able to communicate this idea clearly, Aryan? They will be able
No,
to
so, but his
because
question
they want.
was, those people are not used to using the AI, right? Now you have brought AI to them. You tell them that the product will help you, in certain ways, but they're not used to using it. So why will they use it now, right? What aspects of your UX of the product will help them? What will convince them to use it? That was your question, right, Aryan? Right.
Yeah, yeah. If you'll see, then basically, everybody must adapt the technology. If you are adapting technology today or tomorrow, whenever you need to adapt technology. So our AI is trying to accelerate the process of treatment. So it will as and you have told that, mm, how the user experience of the doctor, how they're going to adapt this user experience. Okay, I think changes the needs little bit of time, and even we have an idea of giving some kind of a seminar or some guidelines to the doctor, especially the kind of a guidelines which through which they don't have to go through the long learning. Our AI will be so easy to use. You just need to ask the question and it will be giving you the answer. It won't be, we won't be using some kind of a platform where it would be very difficult for the user, for us the user is the doctor. If even doctor are trained person, so I think trained and they are educated person, so I think it would be too easy to train the doctor to use the AI.
Okay, so I guess the question is it enough to explain to the doctor that you get these benefits when you use this AI, or to convince them, are you going to need something more? Because they're a doctor. Let's
Yes,
let's
they,
think from a
yes, yes,
let's you
yes,
think from
yes.
their perspective.
Okay, guys. I'm sorry. I think
Yeah.
again, we have been discussing on the AI part, right, on the product thing. We have not been talking about how our team will be convinced to develop that AI, right? So let's discuss that now, right? So how will you get your team to think UX so that they can develop this AI that the doctors can use? Let's forget about the doctor using it or not. Yeah, any questions for that, health watchers?
Yeah, so
You can continue.
all right. Thank you. So you say that you will use case studies and success stories to convince them, right? And I'm supposing there are using just a sec. So case studies and success stories, UX design thinking, education and awareness, user centered concepts. So how exactly are you uh, banking on that these strategies will convince them to think from to think and implement the UX perspective? What is the reasoning behind using these strategies? That's kind of what I was.
Okay, for like case studies and success stories, it would be like to just show them the positive results that we have gotten over the like after experiencing some positive feedbacks. So we'll be showing them how like the UX has helped us or the users particularly with their work.
Okay, a
So yeah.
specific question for this part. So is that enough to convince someone? So for example, if I show you that running daily for 30 minutes is really healthy for you, I show you a case study where people get successful, get better health by if they run every day for 30 minutes. Are you going to be convinced to run every day for 30 minutes?
It can motivate them to at least try it for a one day. After that, maybe they'll have a change of mind.
Possibly. So then what are you going to do to combat that if they do implement it for like a couple of times, but then they get demotivated or something?
And yeah, if they get demotivated, I think the education and awareness will sure help them.
Kind
If
of
someone
get
gets demotivated, yeah, okay.
Okay.
We can
Gaurav, you can go. Gaurav Upadhyay.
We all know that running is good for habit, but most of people do not go. We all know that walking is good, but we do not know. Even we have education and awareness, but still we are not doing it. Motivation is there. We want to do, but we are not doing it. So how does that would help in UX? To means explain your employee, not employee teammates.
No, basically they are hired to design the UX only. If there will be too much lack of the motivation in them, so probably we need to remove them. Yeah, for that we'll be using applying all our strategy. But in case even after applying our strategy, making them think like user centric, user mindset, and giving them some kind of a drill and education. Even after someone is not getting motivated for the UX design, then probably I think we need to remove those kind of people, because you cannot change
So,
everybody.
but you said that you will hire those UX people, right? And you will do sessions for them so that they stay motivated to think from user perspective. But what if as a startup, you do not have money to hire those UX people, and the existing people, right, who are not actually UX designers, you want them to think UX?
Yes, for them probably we'll hire one mentor or one at least
What
I
if you
think we
don't
can
have money
hire
for one mentor? You don't have money for one mentor.
then then probably I think we are solving a nice problem. Maybe we need to align them with our objective first. What are we doing here? Why are you doing here? By doing the security questioning. So I think this will probably change their mind, I think.
How would alignment make them think UX?
Yeah, if
So Socratic questioning you will use to align them to your company's vision, right? But how will you? Yeah, Tushar's question.
Right. So let's say someone, right? Someone is aligned to deep thought, but let's say that someone is not thinking UX. So would you say that he is not aligned?
yeah, maybe probably we can hire more intern. We can replace the intern, I think.
Very
wouldn't that
pragmatic, Ashok.
wouldn't that negatively affect your finances?
If the
Yeah.
next intern is
So
also
for
the same,
example, yeah, even Shavan is a very valuable person, right? They're aligned to our vision. They're just not able to implement UX. Oh, I mean, this is a hypothetical scenario. Shavan, I'm sure he's very good at UX, but what if Shavan is a very valuable member that is really good at everything, that is really aligned, they're just not able to implement the UX as well.
Yeah, probably by giving the education. I think education really helps anyone to build a little bit. Yeah, because this will help someone to grow. Even a small contribution really
Okay, got your
helps
point. So you will educate them. But earlier you made the point, right? Like let's say that a person is not very valuable to the organization. Let's say that the person is new. They're not UX designer. They are very new, right? So you have the option to teach that person. But as you said, you'll just remove that person, right? And Aryan said that that will first of all negatively affect your organization in terms of finances because you're spending resources and hiring the person, right? Another thing is, does that not go against the philosophy of this SD itself, which is how do we convince the existing people think UX? We do not want to remove them.
Okay, then probably even we need to use the DT pedagogy so that people will get motivated by themselves and will able to improve each and every day.
I have one fundamental question here. Like, do you only think just education is enough? Because you are telling
No,
you'll educate, but do you have any other ways to convince them?
yeah, maybe we
Yeah.
can share them.
We can
Oh,
also
Gaurav.
implement design thinking. So with design thinking, what we can teach them is like with a UX user centric design approach in mind, the product itself will have a less time in development than the one without a user centric design in the mind. So what it will reduce is like the reworks. So it will only be beneficial for the employees itself, right? So they would itself be like motivated
Sure,
towards
Gaurav, but
that.
that does not answer someone's question, right? He said you're educating people about design thinking principles, about all this stuff, but would it be enough for them to be convinced? I know design thinking, I know finance, I know all these concepts, but
Right.
have those convinced me to think UX?
Join.
We can also give them how other people are doing UX or implementing
It's-
UX
But once
into the
again,
project.
education.
No,
right?
no,
Like,
no. It's still the same. Gaurav, sorry,
It's still
sorry,
the same,
for,
yeah.
but it's still the same. What else can be done is we can go like instead of trying to convince them to use something, we can show them what is going to happen when you don't use it. Like for example, give them some uncomfortable product and just a no life with like let's say make a test website with the terrible UI UX with terrible UX and give them to use, say use it. Then by using this uncomfortable product, they'll come to realization that okay, gotcha. That's why we need to do it. So like come from the opposite. Does it make sense?
So you can use the experience and data approach as well, right? You give them a bad website, you make them use it, then you make them improve it, and then they use
and
it
then what they realize like, wow, it's really easier, it's really better. So come from opposite, basically.
So they really get to experience.
Yeah, they'll feel them
it.
like there's no way better way to put in the like there's no way better way to convey a think of user. Make you a user that using something uncomfortable.
I would like to interrupt here.
Be the user.
So see, I would like to interrupt. Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So see, you have mentioned that you'll give some website and stuff, but that's just one side of it, right? We are talking about UX here, not just the website, right? I mean everything that you do, right? You try to provide one experience, right? So how would it allow your your team, right, to think about that experience, not just a website, right? I think UX mindset is not just about a website.
No,
I guess Shavan is
talking
saying
about
that. Yeah, I guess Shavan is saying that example would be very good for them to
I think it's more
understand
about
in
a
the
mindset,
context
right?
of
So
a
how do you inculcate that?
website. Yeah. But how do you make sure that they also apply it to other things?
Yeah, and thank you for explaining, but I
Maybe
understood the question.
maybe
myself.
even in places where the UX is not directly available to you. Like for example, you're just working on one piece of a large thing, so you don't even know how this will contribute. The whole thing will contribute to the UX.
What? Can you elaborate on the last part a bit?
Yeah, so
Yes,
I think
not
yeah,
really.
it's just reiterating Shavan's question.
Yeah, okay.
So what Shavan basically the question is, how do you help them get that mindset which they can kind of apply everywhere?
we can maybe apply that why mindset through Socratic dialogues, questioning why we are doing this, to be able to better understand what we need to do and what would be
You
the
already
best
told
one.
them, right, with the case studies that okay, this is how it improves.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Sawan?
No, that doesn't.
Not.
I guess then this could be a bit of an open question. How do you
Yes, we can talk
help
about in our
someone
reflection
develop
point.
a UX mindset? Yeah. How do you
Okay,
help someone
so
develop a UX mindset?
yeah, we can discuss it later on DT learners, I guess. So due to time constraint, I'd like to end the dialogue here. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for very insightful session. So now I guess we can go ahead with our reflection. Please go ahead.
All right, since our team went first, we can also reflect first. So
Sure, Yusha, go
this
ahead.
is this is technically my third or fourth SD, but this is actually my first one. And it was great. Really got to understand more about UX than if I just sat down and thought about it. Like we all of us received a questionnaire, right? I was reading all the questions and trying to answer them, but now I also got to understood, like I got some more interesting questions. So for example, the question that we ended the session with, how do you help someone develop a UX mindset, is showing them case studies, success stories enough to convince someone, etc., etc. Yeah, it was a great session. Thank you, Dean Lawrence, for your questions and
Thank you, Yusha.
for the nice discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Yusha.
Passing it off to Aryan.
Aryan, you're not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, I'm not sure if I was loud with that, but yeah, got it. So, yeah, if it was actually a race, I'd just throw the bat into the ground. But yeah, and just take it at the last. But yeah, I'll just quickly go with my reflections. So, what I specifically learned was that, like, usually in SDs, like nowadays, okay, nowadays it is really too bad of a wording, but yeah, like usually what we do is that we kind of come up with a bunch of not we don't come up with strategies specifically, right? We usually come up with that, okay, we have this concept, this will help us in this thing, and this is and what is our specific kind of contribution which we'll do to implement the particular function, right? But that then kind of leaves behind the why part sometimes, and a lot of times we also focus on the why and we leave behind the how part, and that leads to tangents. So kind of it, I think, like what we could do instead and what we did kind of today was like having strategies and also the why both, right? So that we kind of go balance. That's my first insight. And the second insight would be about uh, yeah, that mindset thing, although it's an open-ended question, I'll just answer it now because I'm too bored. So is my internet fine?
Okay. I think
Okay,
Aryan's
the
internet got
question will
disconnected.
forever be a mystery.
Okay, we can discuss it later in DD learners, I guess.
Okay,
So, okay,
Gaurav,
for health watchers,
Gaurav
Gaurav, you can.
Gopal.
Yes, Gaurav,
So
you can
shall I
go
go
ahead.
with my? Okay. Instead of this, I think we started with the UX. I think I got many points while research also. And the most important, which I learned today actually was the team actually, how the team actually behaves. Especially when Yusha, Aryan, and Tushar, I was really busy at my some works at my college. But actually, Tushar and Yusha and Aryan just they said like, okay, they say okay, no problem. You just came, so you take the overview, and they got ready. So that was something which insight I could took from today whole of this UX SD mode.
Thank you,
Gaurav, I
Gaurav.
kind of Gaurav
Yes.
Upadhyay, I missed how kind of missed how that ties to the UX inside. I might have.
Okay, I was not telling regarding UX, but I was telling regarding the as like this SD one. What how I got this the insight from this SD, whatever I have performed today SD. So SD actually I learned many things. See, as a developer, I'm just focusing on developing a product, but I have never thought of perspective of UX, like how the users would feel, because I am just mostly on developing side, not on that side. So today I got many viewpoints from our teams as well as from the other team also. That was a very thankful experience. Thank you.
Yeah, good to hear about your experience in your first ST. Gaurav, thank you very much. Let's move on to Team Lawrence. Anyone? Please go ahead with your reflection. Okay, due
Okay,
to
so
yeah. Go ahead, Lisa.
kind of an insight is that when creating the pitch, I thought of more of like think UX in regarding to problem that you're trying to solve, but actually UX doesn't end on the one problem. It doesn't end in the one place. It doesn't end on one side. It doesn't end on the one AI. It's more of a mindset that you like. I don't want to say need, but it's like how do I put it other ways? It's a mindset that is beneficial to have. And so when you're trying to convince someone to use UX, it's not just about one thing. It's about like the whole different, if about perspective on life, so to say, can be. Yeah, so this is a kind of an insight that I've got from the meeting. Yeah. Not sure that I
Thank you,
can
Lisa.
add anything else.
Thank you. Okay, Ashok, Gaurav.
Yeah, this is my second SD, and really I enjoyed this SD more because at the beginning everything was going smoothly, but the time went, especially the someone, though he was our uh, though he was our team coach, he asked us the question, that for that we weren't prepared. We have this, yes. So that would my insight. Maybe I think we need to focus in into the other part also, just like what if you're giving the education doesn't work, maybe you can do some kind of a cross workshop or kind of a cross workshop kind of collaboration. But even if that doesn't work, maybe I was thinking maybe at that time, if you had some people and you are not able to make them think from the user experience, then probably you need to remove them. But you have to say like, no, you are a startup and you don't have money, and no matter what, we cannot leave anyone behind, especially in a startup, and because that is too much costly. Okay, so that was my question actually. That really made me think twice, thrice. Right now, even I'm thinking about this question: how can we make? Maybe, I think whatever the answer we have given you the answer by by doing some kind of the educational workshop, and there was even like. Uh, by sharing the success story and everything, but still even I think I'm not satisfied with my own answer. So I think maybe probably we will give this question to the DT learner, and after that I think probably we will get the answer of this question. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
It's a
Ashok.
good
Yes,
SD when you leave. It's a good SD when you leave with more questions than answers.
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Ashok.
basically this is the concept of SD.
Exactly.
So
Well
I'll
said,
go with
Ashok.
my,
Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, Gaurav Pal. Please go ahead.
yeah, it's like my first SD, so it was a bit messy, but it went good. So my insight would be like what I learned was in the last part, like thinking of UX and implementing part of UX, though both of them are very different, and implementing is much harder than just thinking about it that okay, we want to do it. Like many bigger organizations also think to do it, but they are not able to. And in startups, what I found was like because they are like a small group of team, they have a small team, so they are able to better communicate the product through each of the members. So they are like better able to have the UX implemented. So I think yeah, some that's one of my insight from today.
Thank you,
Thank you guys
Gaurav
for the.
Pal. Very nicely put. Thank you very much. Yes, co-moderator. Would you like
Yeah,
to go ahead with the
I
reflection?
had one Yeah, I had one inside it. So I think Tushar pointed that out, right? Like say for example, when you are a startup, right? So basically there is very less of finances, I mean financial responsibility that you can take, right? So you have to manage your resources very efficiently, right? And you also sometimes you can't even afford I mean some mentor or some because of the finances. So I think in those cases, inculcating this UX thought process among the teams can actually help you, because in it by that way you are actually allowing everyone to think, right, in that way, right? And I think by this we can also improve the products or the things that we are actually currently working on, right? And coming to the second point, right, when we talk about like implementing this UX mindset, right, I think two things that we can practice is, one is, okay, we are educating, we are doing workshops and so on, but are we internalizing the concepts that are taught in workshops, right? Are we practicing them enough? I think, I mean, see, even we go to gyms, right? But we do, there is some uncomfortness that we feel, right? Even when we lift the weights. But so what I think is, even if we enforce this on ourselves, right? Like, let's try internalizing it. I think then we could actually inculcate this mindset. So I think that would be my insight.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sawan. Sir, would you like to go ahead with yours?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Gaurav.
Reflection.
I will just build up on what someone said for the first point, right? Um, in a startup, you have less resources and stuff. And I would say it's not just become important for you to think UX, I would say it becomes super, super important, very much crucial, because it's a startup, right? You do not have much resources. So you would want to make sure that you are not wasting those resources much, right? So if you take that user-centric approach when you're developing your product or technology, whatever it is, it helps you set that foundation, right? It helps you reduce the chances of you making, mistakes, right? You coming up with those features, those things that are actually solving the problem of the people, of your target audience. So, having UX as a basis becomes very much crucial at that point. Another thing was just that point that Lisa said, right? How one of the ways that we can convince them is by showing them what happens, when UX is not used. I remember Tarun once mentioning that you learn more when you realize what something is not than what something is, right? So if you realize that, okay, UX benefits in this, but if you do not use UX, it will affect you in this way, then I think this might have much more impact on the mindset of people, but again, just food for thought, right? It might require more probing, for it to be actually worth exploring.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Tushar. Yes, like UX is something that your customer interacts with your product, right? So yeah, it has huge impact on your overall business landscape. So that's what I came to understand from this STA as well. Like we have to think about a lot of things before implementing this UX strategy, right? We have to understand the UX mindset, how to induce it into the customers, and how to make them interact with our product. So those all things are plays a huge role in this in our business landscape. So that would be my understanding from today's ST. So yeah, for the questions that we have still with us, we can discuss it in DT Learners group. And yeah, thank you all for participating in this ST. It was very insightful session. And yes, that would be the end of the ST. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you.